YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson, and I just kind of wanted to go over the last season of Snowfall and just the rise and the fall of Franklin Saint. And particularly with this season, we were all hoping that we got that happy ending. I was as far as the last episode, you know, I was just telling myself, man, it still resonates with me right now. I couldn't even really do anything because I was still just so shocked of how they did things. And it's basically my think pieces. I was all over Twitter looking at think pieces of what people had to say and how they reacted to it. And it's very traumatic. It's very traumatic in a sense where you see someone like Franklin from season 1 building his empire all the way to the top, and Teddy taking that money and seeing what he would do to try to get it back, only to come up just a couple of seconds short and alter his life forever. And just to me, the last 2 episodes of this season just was, it didn't make sense, but it made poetic sense in terms of writing, but it wouldn't have made sense realistically in some cases, meaning that I know that, you know, with him, it drove him so mad to where he turned to alcohol. And I know with this season particularly, they hinted at how Franklin never ever picked up a bottle until the final episode. And you've seen how it just deteriorated and just started a downpour from there, where he couldn't stop drinking because he was dealing with so much grief, so much anxiety, so much depression, and just angst of trying to get money. And in certain cases where he went to Leon in that final episode, and Leon extended it, man, I'll give you 500,000, and he turned it down, you know, because you got 3 million, like, dude, give me half of it and we'll, you know. And Leon just told him no, because it's like, well, your mom wouldn't have did what she did if she didn't do that, then you have this money. And basically everyone's saying that the money was Franklin Saint's drug addiction. Like, that was his crack, that was his rock. And you see how it just altered his everything for him. And even with his wife, with Veronique, as he started to put hands on her, she just was like, that's it, took all the money, and she left him. And, you know, he only had $800,000 to his name, and it wasn't enough to pay off anything. And then he sold all the property because he was so mad with her, and he just destroyed it all. He destroyed it all and destroyed himself, and he was just kind of like, whatever, you know. And it just hurt me to see that for someone to be college educated and run up $75 million, and amongst doing all the things that he's done, to end up to just nothing. And I tell myself, for him to be so young, yeah, I understand way later on, but he could have, you know, had plot points where it's, you know, okay, I can build that up, or I can take the 500,000, go get a couple of keys and flip it and get my $1 million and kind of live off that. But he was so like, $1 million is nothing to me. I want what I want, which is 37 million. That's how much I should be getting, because I built everything, and why they do this to me type of thing. So that's where I looked at in terms of, it was different from the Freeway Ricky Ross story, which is woefully categorized behind of his story and his life. But that's where they took a dramatic turn, because he, Ricky Ross ended up going to jail versus Franklin Saint turning into basically, you know, a alcoholic, junkie type of bum, you know, a homeless bum. And that's why I sit there and tell myself, I'm like, I feel like he deserved better. For Franklin Saint to be our generation's, you know, drug kingpin, that we follow his ascension to his descension, and we all wanted him to kind of go out with a happy ending, but we know in certain cases that most of these things does not end in a happy ending. And I kept telling myself, I'm like, for him to be facing the CIA, you know, I thought they would have came after him at some point, or felt like he was a risk, but because he was drinking so much, he lost it all. It's like, okay, yeah, no one's going to believe you because all you do is drink, you're alcoholic. No one's going to believe you, so you're not a flight risk anymore, so they left him alone. even after all the bodies that he's dropped, even in his final episode when he found Peaches, like, I'm like, how are you not getting arrested for any of it? But like I said, it's the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, no cameras, no nothing. So you didn't know what was going on, what happened. And that's why I was sitting there telling myself, for him to find Peaches, which was only like a couple of miles away, I was like, that to me didn't make sense, because he had millions of dollars behind people trying to find him. And all of a sudden it's just, he's only a couple of miles away. And I was like, that's crazy, and I'm like, and the poetic justice of the final episode of him getting the vault open and getting the $12,000 is what he started in the beginning when he first sold his first key of coke, which was 12,000. And that's why I said the poetic justice in there. But I'm like, everyone was saying like, man, you could have took that 12,000 and got you since you already had a plane, you already knew how to fly, could have got you a pilot license, became a pilot. You could have did so many other things with his life other than turn out the way he turned out. So that's why I sit there and tell myself, I would love, even in this Wanda story, I would love to see the redemption of Franklin Saint, that he, gets straight, finds a job, and Lee still has money. So it's in a position where they invested and they do the right thing with it. So that's my hope. But, like I said, I think that Damson Idris would have ended it on this note. I feel like if John Singleton was still alive, this wouldn't have probably went this way. I love the Easter egg of John Singleton directing Boys in the Hood, but I think his artistic style wouldn't have had Franklin Saint go out like this, because it's something that this is going to resonate for a lot of people. I don't think that he would have went out this way. I think that he would have got way lesser than the 37 million. He probably would have got like 5 and like, man, be done with it, be okay with it. Veronique would have probably turned on him, turned out she's like working with the KGB or something of that nature. I feel like John Singleton would have had a distasteful, happy ending for all of us. And that's why I was kind of like, if it would have been a lot different, but I can't complain. You see Louie keeps on the run, but she was just working as a horse rancher. I was happy to see Gustavo as also just, working in Mexico, and hearing that, I think her name is Chichi or something like that. She's in North Carolina with the boys. They're doing fine. He helped them out. And I loved his story and his ending, because I thought he was doomed for sure with the DEA. And I was happy that he really made it out. I'm like, he just got to stay in Mexico. They're not going to bother him. But like I said, the most hurtful thing was Franklin. And even with Sissy doing all of that, as when Franklin went to go visit her in jail, she understood that he was lost, but why won't you give him an explanation, knowing that your son would have been okay, your grandson would have been okay if she would have waited, so. But I understand the rage that she had, because it's like, man, Teddy had lied to her about Alton, so I understand the rage, but you could have just waited, like, man, get the numbers, boom, and then you could have been like, go, and that's why I said it really didn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. I just look at this as going down in history as one of the most prevalent TV shows that we've watched, that I was glued from start to finish. Been a while, 6 years, 7 years that we just really watched, with Uncle Jerome. I was sorely be missed, because he was really a glue that really held a lot of things together. Just missing him, like, what's up, nephew? So that's why I just tell myself it was a wild ride. I kind of wanted to also see Scully one final time. I'm like, you guys didn't really get to see Scully like anymore. Like, I just want to see what will become of him, type of thing. But, it is what it is. I just look at it like this last episode of this season really, it's all over the internet. It stays over the internet of just how Franklin Saint looked at the end. And it really breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. And like I said, that is going to resonate with me for a while until something else comes along. But we're going to visit this come next year and be like, damn, that was Franklin Saint, and it's going to hurt all over again. So you guys enjoyed my review of the final season of Snowfall, and more particularly the final episode of Snowfall. Subscribe to my channel, post a comment down below, and like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.